case in regards to the deputy president, our legal team, that is senior counsel Kibe Muigai and Ndego Njiro, are in that case. So we had to be represented in court on Tuesday by Kalonzo Musyoka, Eugene Wamalwa, and their team. But we are working on getting a legal team that would be fully 100% working on this case. But I will take time to appreciate that one of the things that I love about this is that the consistency and persistence in dealing with this case, to me, I believe is one of the issues to date Adani is not able to crack on how to get JKIA to himself. Because we got some conservatory orders placed on it, so there's nothing much they can do. The Kenya Aviation Workers Union, which is being represented by Senior Counsel Ngatia, is also working on the same. And I'll urge Kenyans and people on this space. One of the things I've noticed is that this government has a way of distracting Kenyans. And every time we get distracted, they get away with something major. To bring to perspective, I do know for one, the Belinda Gates Foundation has gotten the rights to operate in Kenya, and you cannot sue them. They can be sued by anyone in this country. We have the issues around the speaker, which is none of our business really. But if we can have Kenyans rally around this JKIA issue, especially in the days where we need to be in court, your presence there shines more light on this because people are able to see that the country really doesn't want this deal to go through. If we can do that, it will be a major boost to us in the case. I want to bring in TJ.
I'm doing on the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. It is not my endeavor. I have said from the beginning that I took the authority from the petition of the people, and therefore it is such a matter of public interest that anybody who would try and do anything to compromise it, even if it's my friend like lawyer Ndego Njiru, I took the liberty of publishing the letter that he wrote to me on my timeline because it was very, very disturbing. And there was a very high risk that there would be no conservatory orders to maintain the status quo at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport pending the hearing and the determination of the case. For the listeners who do not know what conservatory orders are, conservative orders are the most powerful tool the judiciary has at its disposal. Many lawyers call it a 360 architectural design because it protects what happened before it happened, can cancel what is done, and can talk about the future. It covers in law the four elements around any issue before the court. And therefore, a conservatory order returns the suit issue to the beginning as though it never started. And that is why once you win a conservatory order, the court preserves what we then call status quo until the final determination of the suit. And that does not disadvantage the Kenyan people, nor does it disadvantage our right to appeal, etc., until we come to the conclusion of a case. Without conservatory orders, then what would happen is exactly what happened with the Kentraco, with the Adani group, where that deal went ahead and could not be stopped because there were no orders. So when I realized that there was this problem from my lawyers on the morning of 9:30 in the morning, I called the leader of the official opposition, Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, who is also representing me in the case, but does not involve himself really on the technical day-to-day issue, and the former Minister for Defense, Eugene Wamalwa. And I informed them that we are in a crisis as a country because the lawyers have absconded and they have gone, including Kibe Muigai and Ndego Njiru have gone to Gachagua, where I'm sure, I don't want to say for whatever reasons, I don't want to disparage their name, but they went there and abandoned the matter. And both Kalonzo and Wamalwa shot to the High Court and were there seated an hour before the 11 o'clock hearing. And then when the court sat to hear, Kalonzo explained to the court that he was there on our behalf, on my behalf, and that the case should proceed. And this is then what happened. The court was informed that the other matter of the airport involving the Law Society of Kenya is coming up on the 25th of this month, I think 2 days from now. And that case has already got conservatory orders in favor of LSK, stopping anything from going on with the airport. And that on that 25th, the application before the court to consider will be the constitution of a 3-bench judge a panel, and therefore the conservatory orders will remain, despite the fact that there will be an application before the court to be decided. And therefore, there is no immediate danger to the airport as long as those conservatory orders hold. The court went further to allocate through Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka my petition to go back on the 11th of November 2024, which is about 2 weeks, so is it, or 20 days from now, meaning that those conservatory orders existing in the case of the LSK remain, but on the 11th, I can apply for a second set of conservatory orders in our case, as well as applying to consolidate the case between us and the one of the LSK, so that both orders are made into one and we can hear the matter together. And as long as the conservatory orders remain, then the hearing and the case can go on without Kenyans feeling in any panic that the airport can be disposed of or any contract with Adani can proceed. So as we speak today, no such order, no such deal of Adani can proceed. No such thing can go on as long as the conservatory order enjoyed by the LSK on our behalf remains, and we intend to reinforce it on the 11th of November. So when I say it's a win for us, the court reaffirmed the existence of that conservatory order, and therefore told Kalonzo there was no need to give a separate conservatory order because the other one exists and has not been removed. So I wanted to make that report. Alphonse, what do you say?
Titi, I see Alphonse has dropped, but to add on to what you've said, one of the things that our speaker, our listener,
surrounding the case, and one of the important things that Kenyans should know is the very important role played by the Secretary General and the workers of the Kenya Aviation Workers Union of the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. I mean, those guys have been great, led by their SG Moss, because, you know, they themselves had said they would not, and many Kenyans would remember, they were going on strike because of the deal. And they asked for documents and they asked for things to be able to peruse before they could give their way forward. And looking at the documents, the workers in unison agreed that the case was not beneficial, not only to the workers, but to the people of Kenya. As we speak now, the Kenya Aviation Workers Union have got one of Kenya's most prominent lawyers, Friend Gatia, who is representing them within the petition. And they and I are speaking the same language. So what I am saying is, by the time you can build that kind of coalition, get the kind of information and evidence that come together to put a petition that can succeed. Because if you look at the petition defeated now on the housing levy, which was defeated in the Court of Appeal, is because when it goes to rigorous scrutiny, you must know our case of Jomo Kenyatta will go all the way to the Supreme Court. And therefore, you need to be thorough and careful and so comprehensive so that there is no opportunity later that you would have lost the petition because you were not ready. So, Tony, there is a lot of work, a lot of effort that goes to construct a petition. And the government of William Ruto has been very clever about one thing. By manipulating the use of the PP, documents are being done. Very few hands and very few eyeballs have been on these proposals or these contracts. So by the time whistleblowers come out, the matter has gone to the point of no return. And it becomes impossible, if not very difficult, to be able to get the documents, go to court, get conservatory orders, and then challenge the matter because of the secrecy. And you know, in a suit, it includes suing the party. I mean, with Adani, we had to serve them all the way in India. You have to serve this party, you have to serve that. If I were to challenge anyone on this space today, go and find Adani's office in Kenya. Where would you find it? And that is why I'm saying that to have the success we've had in the Adani case is because of the amount of effort and work that's done. And I am confirming to Kenyans that out of 10, the likelihood of Adani, getting that airport outside this case and outside this petition is zero. He will have to succeed in this petition to be able to go forward because we've been able to arrest the situation beforehand. Tony?
Thank you, JJ. But I'll also make a confession. We seem, even I on my part, you get people telling you, Tony, talk about shift, try and take us to go through this. To give you a solution as our listeners, as we try and sort out the issue with the mics, what we need to get to an agreement is that we need to be very methodical in how we do our things. So the question is, now you want us to deal with Chief. Are you ready to put in the work? Because it's a lot of paperwork and it's a lot of meetings and it's a lot of you really anchoring down and saying, we as a team are handling Chief and nothing else but Chief. So if Kenyans can really come up and say, okay, organizers in this format, this group will be handling Chief, another group will be handling Ruto comes up with issues for this country every day. So what we need to do is, before he has figured out that we tend to make things hashtag more than take time to organize. So every time there's an issue as Kenyans, let us anchor down and say, now, how do we deal with this issue systematically, lawfully, before we are really out of time? And that is what saved us with Adani, is that as people were reacting, Tony and
Tony,
Tony, there was a lot of paperwork being done. Yes, Chief.
Are people hearing us? Or because I'm noticing I cannot be able to access any speakers. Are people hearing us or the space has been compromised?
No, people can hear. You can actually just request, if you can hear, give me 100. That way you are able to know.
Are you hearing? Can you?
Yes,
can
I can hear.
Huh? Okay, you can hear, but is everyone else? Yeah, because I could see the. Oh, okay. Go ahead, Tony. Right.
Yeah. So as I was saying, Ruto seems to have a way of having an issue on the table every day. Now, what we need to do as Kenyans is change how we react to the issues. Instead of us just being purely reactive, we do what we did. Let's have Kenyans do what we did with the Adani case. Immediately he gives you an issue, we try and now look at the legality that was not met, so that we are able to arrest it before it grows. That is how we shall increase our chances of winning. Do we have a team that is willing to help? Yes. But we need to have now people go down, look at the constitution, and try and find out what did they skip, what step was skipped, because they'll always make a mistake, and we take them to court with that. In short, what we do is we create a filibuster.
Tony, sorry to interrupt you. I'm getting several messages from so many people that they can't get in as though the space has been compromised. Could I just restart the space again?
Sure,
because
there's
something wrong with this space at the moment. Let me just restart it again.
Okay. No, Tony, before
we might not be able to have any form of protest for what is happening, right? And when I mean absolute power, is when the three arms of government are all speaking, singing the same tune. And this tells us there is nothing we can do as individuals, and we are on our own. And I was in the other space and I was telling guys, look here, if your member of parliament can make decisions not based off of what you send him to do, then he's not representing you. He's representing other people, other favors that he's actually getting. And to be honest, we had, the judiciary as our only hope, especially during the Maraga period. I had a lot of confidence in the judiciary during Maraga time. But to be honest, this time I'm losing that confidence. And based off of what is happening, even with the filing of cases. I mean, I don't support Gachagua in any way of what he says, but the way he's being treated, the way his lawyers are being treated in the court, and with the filing and the procedures that are actually used in the courthouse. I've been following this closely, and I can see there is something going on that it's just about time to happen, right? So what I can say, I know the topic today is about Adani. I know Adani is already here to stay. I mean, he's already here. If he's already signed, we're talking about Ketraco, we're talking about the JKIA, and it's already gone. He's already here to stay, and it's just a matter of time. He's going to take over other, institutions that we have. So we as Kenyans, and you can see when I say the judiciary, I mean the executive has actually held hostage of everyone, even the Raila guy. Right now he comes and sanitizes Adani, and he says that, based off of my experience, Adani has done significant projects even in other areas. So it shows that the only critic who the government was afraid of was Raila. And because now Raila is in their pocket, then you can see it is something that it's already scripted, and they know that, that there is nothing we can do. So here's where we are as Kenyans. And I hope, and even when you're looking about, sorry, I'm jumping from topics to topics, but when we are talking about even the extension, the term limits, they are testing us. They just want to see at what level are we? How can we protest? How far can we go? They're just testing the waters. And it's just a matter of time this is also coming to pass if you're not very careful. So if you haven't signed, I've already signed my petition, not my petition, but my view on the same. If you haven't received an email, if you need to sign this, please send it over. Send it over to the Senate. I don't know if we can send it to the to the Parliament, but please send it over. Show your involvement, because they are taking advantage of our silence, our ignorance as Kenyans. And things are happening behind the scenes that we will come to regret as a nation. And I'm telling you, the moment they will approve the 7-year limit, oh my God, I'm going to the street with my grandkids, I'm going to the street with my wife, everyone will be on the street, and I'll be sleeping on the street. They'll come take us off from the street. Because we are just been pushed to the limit. I mean, we are right now on the limit. The housing, everything. I'm sorry, I'm kind of ranting right now, but I feel like we are fucked. I'm sorry to use this language, but yeah, I'll let other speakers to go on. If your mics are now working, if you can hear me, it means the space is now working. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Asante. Tony, you can hear clearly?
Yes, TJ.
So very quickly, for the purpose of the last speaker, I think some people didn't get my brief on Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. And I want to be very brief in terms of, because I'd undertaken to give a report. I appeared in court on the 22nd at Milimani High Court, and the case was coming up for directions. Unfortunately, our lawyers were not available because they had been dragged in to the Gachagua matter. But luckily, His Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka and Eugene Wamalwa were able to attend court on behalf of the petitioners for the airport. And during the hearing of the case, the following 3 things were confirmed. One, that the Law Society case, which comes up on the 25th, continues to enjoy conservatory orders, maintaining the status quo at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, and that the application that will come before the court on the 25th will be an application seeking to increase the bench to 3, and therefore it is unlikely to affect the conservatory orders. And the judge, therefore, on that basis, asked us to come back on the 11th of November 2024, when we will be making a fresh application to have another conservatory order or consolidate the case with the LSK one. So where there is already an existing conservatory order, and we can also do our petition before the 3-bench judge. So in that way, we hit two birds with one stone. And therefore, I'm confirming to Kenyans that the status quo at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport at the moment is that everything is as though Adani had not come. And that is why I wanted to correct the last speaker. The airport is different from what has happened with the Kitrako or what has happened with the SHAF, the health service. And I was trying to explain to earlier listeners that one of the most dangerous things the Ruto regime is doing is to introduce a very little known apparatus in government called PPP, which means that everything they are doing, they do not advertise. They invite a single source and they go and start negotiations, enter a contract. By the time the public know, it's too late to go to court. The luck we have as Kenyans about the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport is many whistleblowers, including Nelson from the Netherlands and the rest, were able to blow the whistle ahead of time. And it has taken me more than 2 months to build a proper petition because of the amount of evidential material that you must put in a petition for it to be successful. Because if you just file a petition that cannot be argued up to the Supreme Court, its chances of survival are gone. What I can guarantee Kenyans is 2 things. Number one, the petition that we have filed is airtight. It is world class. It is a petition that Adani cannot win, as we have filed it. Secondly, Kenyans are unaware that a critical player in helping in this petition and even participating has been the Kenya Aviation Workers Union, who are also parties. We have joined them in the petition as an interested party, and they have appointed one of Kenya's top lawyers, Fred Ngatia, to represent them. So in this petition, the people of Kenya, the people or the workers of the airport, and the petition sponsor myself are all on one corner against the Adani group and the government. And therefore, kwa hali na mali, we are with them, including a strike option. So there are so many things which exist, but they exist because we are going through the legal aid procedure. But on the Adani Jomo Kenyatta Airport, I can confirm that we are ahead of the government strategies. And I can confirm, instead of competing with the LSK, it is better for us to consolidate the matter so we can enjoy the protection of the conservatory orders they already have, as we prosecute now the case on the constitutional questions, which mean there was no public participation, there was no approval of parliament, and so on and so forth. And all those things are contained. Finally, I want to use this forum to thank the Association of Workers of the Airport. I also want to thank Kalonzo Musyoka and Eugene Wamalwa for stepping in, because we were in a really difficult place on the 22nd, because the 2 key lawyers, Ndegwa Njiru and Kibe Muigai, left me alone and went to the Gachagua case, and we were really exposed. But the court could have easily dismissed our petition for want of prosecution. But Kalonzo is no longer a watermelon. That I asked him about that thing, and he told me that watermelon name came from Raila Odinga, and who is now the watermelon. He tells me, TG, I'm a straightforward guy. Anyway, documents are being done. Very few hands and very few eyeballs have been on these proposals or these contracts. So by the time whistleblowers come out, the matter has gone to the point of no return. And it becomes impossible, if not very difficult, to be able to get the documents, go to court, get conservatory orders, and then challenge the matter because of the secrecy. And in a suit, it includes suing the party. I mean, with Adani, we had to serve them all the way in India. You have to serve this party, you have to serve that. If I were to challenge anyone on this space today, go and find Adani's office in Kenya. Where would you find it? And that is why I'm saying that to have the success we've had in the Adani case is because of the amount of effort and work that's done. And I am confirming to Kenyans that out of 10, the likelihood of Adani, getting that airport outside this case and outside this petition is zero. He will have to succeed in this petition to be able to go forward because we've been able to arrest the situation beforehand. Tony?
Thank you, TJ. But I'll also make a confession. We seem, even I on my part, you get people telling you, Tony, talk about chief, try and take us to go through this. To give you a solution as our listeners, as we try and sort out the issue with the mics, what we need to get to an agreement is that we need to be very methodical in how we do our things. So the question is, now you want us to deal with chief. Are you ready to put in the work? Because it's a lot of paperwork and it's a lot of meetings and it's a lot of you really anchoring down and saying, we as a team are handling chief and nothing else but chief. So if Kenyans can really come up and say, okay, organizers in this format, this group will be handling chief, another group will be handling Ruto comes up with issues for this country every day. So what we need to do is, before he has figured out that we tend to make things hashtag more than take time to organize. So every time there's an issue as Kenyans, let us anchor down and say, now, how do we deal with this issue systematically, lawfully, before we are really out of time? And that is what saved us with Adani, is that as people were reacting, Tony and
Tony,
the entire team,
Tony,
there was a lot of paperwork being done. Yes, Chief.
Are people hearing us? Or because I'm noticing I cannot be able to access any speakers. Are people hearing us or the space has been compromised?
No, people can hear. You can actually just request, if you can hear, give me 100. That way you are able to know.
Are you hearing? Can you?
Yes,
can
I
you
can
hear?
hear.
Okay, you can hear, but is everyone else? Yeah, because I could see the. Oh, okay. Go ahead, Tony. Right.
Yeah. So as I was saying, Ruto seems to have a way of having an issue on the table every day. Now, what we need to do as Kenyans is change how we react to the issues. Instead of us just being purely reactive, we do what we did. Let's have Kenyans do what we did with the Adani case. Immediately he gives you an issue, we try and now look at the legality that was not met, so that we are able to arrest it before it grows. That is how we shall increase our chances of winning. Do we have a team that is willing to help? Yes. But we need to have now
into all these PPP projects does not have PPP regulations. So basically what is happening is that there was a PPP Act 2021, which was an update of the 2013 one, but there is no regulation to go with it. The regulation has been delayed by design. It was supposed to be signed last year, it wasn't, and then this year it was supposed to be signed, but hasn't been signed. Everything is ready, but the regulations are still not signed. So what is happening is that they're illegally using the regulations of 2013, which is illegal and unconstitutional. So maybe this one is something that can be taken up in court. And probably if we look into more details, we can even go as far as tell the court to declare the PPP Act of 2021 unconstitutional, so that we can go back to the PPP Act of 2013. And then the second point that I want to say is that we need to go to court so that we can ask the court to remove this. There is four ways of public procurement, and one of them is the PIP. So maybe we need to go and discuss in court whether we need to remove this framework from the procurement framework of public procurement, because it has too many loopholes. So lawyers in the house, the ball is on your court to check it out. We can gather PPP experts because you have to have some kind of certification to be able to be an expert in PPP and lawyers, and then we can look at these acts and see how we can file a petition in court to see if we can make this PPP Act of 2021 go away and remove, this nightmare of PIPs from our backs. Thank
So
you.
Nelson, before you go, just stay on. That is very important.
Mhm.
What I was going to ask, I think I sent Mweru the amended petition on the Jomo
Yeah.
Kenyatta case. And if she could share it just with you and any other lawyer who wants it, because we are asking several constitutional questions. And in fact, why we amended the petition was to include that new directorate or PPP. And I think the petition covers it entirely, but it will be very important for people to look at this petition because, first of all, it's a people's petition. Although the plaintiff is Adani and the Treasury, we are seeking certain declarations, constitutional declarations. May it be easier for people to have access to this petition and read it and add or have any comment that they want, including any submissions that can be prepared by way of authorities and other things like that. Because the petition, actually, the more eyes on it, the easier, Nelson.
Yes, this is a very good idea. Yeah, you can make it public for us to be able to access it. And yeah, we can work on adding these comments to the petition.
Mweru, do you undertake to get that to Nelson?
Yes, I will. And now that I have Nelson here, just so you know, people who are on the space, in case you're not aware, that he's being sued. He's receiving a lot of lawsuits. So if there's a way you can help support him financially, I don't know how to get the money to him. Please just let's be open to assisting him because, I mean, come on, if it wasn't for him being so bold, and we won't be even having this conversation.
There's another thing that Nelson sent me the other day, which is to always remember to congratulate the workers of the airport. And I want to say that when he's here, that without the Kenya Aviation Workers Union, MOS, and the Secretary General, a lot of this success of securing the airport would not have happened.
Yeah, we need to support them. And Mos Ndiema is a very solid guy. What most people do not know is that Uhuru Kenyatta jailed him for 1 week because they were against the Greenfield terminal. So he has salt in the game. And, I was speaking to him and I asked him, have you been paid? Why did you go to State House? So he was a bit mad at me.
So
but
Nelson, the very good news is that he's now appointed one of Kenya's top lawyers, friend Gatia, is representing the workers and their parties in our petition. So in other words, we are on one side with the workers, and that's great.
Exactly. So he's a solid guy, and he's firmly behind this push to reject Adani.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, Mara Box, go ahead, and then we'll have Nothing KE and Daniel. I mean, I have a lot of speaker requests, so let's try to be brief if you can.
Yeah, greetings, Mweru, Tony, and all the members of Point Blank family. Asade, I think I saw news of our friend Gaeto being arrested. I've not heard anything that has come out of that. So please, in case you have any information on that, please just let us know. Back to the points what Tony made. Tony, I have submitted 2 memorandums this week, the petition on the critical infrastructure, and I also did the one on the protests. The one on the critical infrastructure was easy because I just went to the website for the interior, and they had a questionnaire sort of, and you just had to fill it out. The most interesting thing that I saw there was that you have to leave there your phone number. You could not leave the phone number bit blank, but we just give what we have to give. The one for the interior I'm seeing is not structured, so you can just follow what Okiom Tata did. But apart from that, we're also creating a database whereby we have various sample petitions that you can log into and get them. And I think also Mweru, with your help and having them on your timeline would be very helpful, so that anybody who feels like they want to make a petition, especially to Senate and to the National Assembly, can just get a draft from your timeline and just modify it and change maybe the names, the telephone number, and the ID bits, but have almost the same information because it has to follow a certain structure. Secondly, I think for the lawyers, they are becoming very, very unpredictable. We have seen LSK take a back. These days, they don't come when people are arrested. It's very hard to see LSK coming. What I heard about what happened to Tony is very unfortunate because sometimes we depend on these people, not just as lawyers, but also as friends. And if you leave something of national interest like JKIA and you go running after, chasing after the wind because of one person losing an office, it really, really doesn't make sense unless it really had a lot of money to do with it. And when you talk about money, I've had an issue of over 5 billion spent on the regarding impeachment. And I think when lawyers hear money, then they follow the money. And it's very unfortunate that Tony had to really but also on a lighter note, it's really nice because right now then Kalonzo Musyoka has actually shown himself as the person to go to when we really need him. And let me also take this time to thank Kalonzo Musyoka and Eugene Wamalwa for coming through on this time, because when Kenyans call upon leaders, the people who show up are the people we work with. We don't have favorites, we don't choose. So whoever comes to the table.
Maribox, I wanted you to stay on that issue because on the issue you're raising on the extension of parliament and the interior issues, I wanted us, because if we can give a brief to Kalonzo and those groups, because all you need is a megaphone. We are not in politics. There are no elections at the moment. But the problem is, I know Oki Mtata well, but he's a lone ranger. You know, he does things, and, you know, if they succeed or fail, you don't know until you read it in the newspaper. What I'm saying right now, I can do with this forum, and that's why I'm so excited to see Nelson here, because when Nelson got involved in this, I got involved. And then when I got involved, Eugene got involved. When Eugene got involved, Kalonzo got involved. You know, and the more we are all hands on deck, that is why we've got Root on the run. So I'm saying if we approach the extension of the term and the same way by building a coalition, instead of this, you know, Lone Ranger tactics you've seen even within the Gen Z movement. Marbox?
I understand, and that is exactly why we need wise elders like yourself to really advise, because even if I send my petition to Parliament, how will I know that it was received? I get no acknowledgement. I just see the sent. But if we have these concerted efforts by especially our elders and people who have done this before, and I like it when you bring such an idea. But I would like us to go through.
And remember, Wiper has got about 10 senators. You know, they've got Manzo, who is a lawyer. They have Wambua. You know, Kalonzo has 20 members of parliament. He has got people in the Senate.
If you see what Judge Muilu did the other day. So we also want somebody who the judges can respect. And, you know, Kalonzo, Eugene, and all these people come with that authority, which any courts in Kenya can listen to. So I really, really applaud that idea, and we are going to push on through it. So if we can find a way to push our samples through Mweru, because I don't want to really bombard your DM, Tony, because I'm sure you're a very busy man and we don't want you to be receiving like 100 messages in a day. So we can use Mweru. She can filter what she feels like important in terms of petitions and the samples, and the most important, she sends it to you or maybe Tony, and so that you get what is workable, because also I've seen so many petitions which also fall short of the requirements of Parliament. Lastly, Tony,
but do the last one for the 7-year term. That one is very urgent. That one you can send her so that I can get the Wiper senators not only to reject, but to help take in what has been sent by the public, so they can then voice it, even if they're in the minority. They can make sure that our voice is heard in the Senate and in the media.
Right away, that will be done right away. I've seen the advocate Charlo also had a sample. I'm going to share that one. Tony, thank you for taking time from your holiday in Diani to come and defend Kenyans, and I urge you to really, really put effort on it. Keep on grinding, no matter the obstacles that will come on the way, and also know that we are with you. because you are with us. This is a fight for all Kenyans, and we shall not tire. We shall not tire on this road. So I'm going to send the petitions, the ones I have right now, to Muero, and she can see what she can do with it. And let me also thank Nelson for what you've done. You might not know it, but you're a hero in Kenya right now. And you will know this one day when you children write songs and sing songs about Nelson, the person who blew the whistle on JKIA. So we are with you. On November 11th, we will be together and see what the court will make of this. Thank you very much for the time. God bless.
Yeah, thanks, Marabu. Just go ahead and send me the anything.
Muero, I think we can bring in Daniel. It was nothing KE, then Daniel.
Hi everybody. As usual, I always start by saluting our comrades who paid the ultimate price, the wounded, the injured, and Kenyans at large. I'd like to thank everybody who's hands on deck on this particular case. Tony, thank you and your team. And the other Tony and Moiru, I remember where the inception of this issue started. Sorry for the hiccups. I just wanted to add that there are lawyers who are sworn to the bar, and they're not practicing, but they're very willing to plug into issues like this. Like there were some who, I remember the day they were sworn to the bar, ended up getting involved to release comrades who had been arrested. So if you can reach out to LSK, I'll try and do that as well and plug them to you. They can help you with clerical work in terms of filing the cases and digesting them for you. Another issue
Please let me
is
interrupt you there because I want to interrupt you there. I really need your help there because I've spoken to friend Gatia and he has told me that we must be very careful on the next farm that we choose. That would be very helpful because we have until the 11th to go for the most important case, as Mara Box has said. So I would like by next week to have decided on a farm and lawyers to a point where we have public confidence. You remember Ndegwa Njiru has been on these spaces with me several times. By the time I instructed him, I had every confidence that this would never happen. Why I published the letter for everyone to read in the timeline is I was shocked to see somebody of his stature and Kibe Muigai writing to the deputy registrar of the court that they can't represent JKIA because they are going to the Gachagua case. It made me suspicious because if you can't handle a case, you tell your client, so you make other alternatives. But on that day, they did it. So if you give this case to somebody, as you say, who is not sworn to the bar and the country, they can sell us out. And after all the risks Nelson and everybody has taken, I feel a public debt to be very careful. I'm doing this in the public trust. So go ahead, but please know that I need DMs of people who can help in the legal issue so that I can talk to them when we are not in the space. So they help me make a right decision in the next few days. Yeah.
Another thing I wanted to highlight is Wakili Chalo every day shares out these petitions and the bills that they are trying to pass in parliament. And I've pointed him to Wanjiro because the last 2 days I was a bit held up, and Wanjiro has been holding spaces on those particular issues. Wakili Chalo, by the time he shares with you an issue, he's already drafted it in summary such that if you're going to sign, say opposing the term limit, he makes it easy for you. He makes sure that the document is not amendable, because the first time we were trying to fight the infrastructure issue, some people were able to amend the document. So now when he shares them, he makes sure that they're not amendable, because I think Parliament was trying to change the document to state as though people were supporting what they were doing. And then, so people are only supposed to sign, and then the link is supposed to collect the information and you can oppose it. So yeah, I'll plug you to Wanjiro. She's been spearheading that on Spaces, and maybe KOT, you can help her on highlighting these issues so that we don't leave anything behind. We are falling through the cracks of the mess they are creating on a daily basis, because as people are focused on one thing, They keep spewing more trouble for the nation. Thank you for committing to safeguard this Adani JKIA issue. I look at it from the point of border security, that we cannot relegate to a foreigner. And I don't like when people say that such infrastructure has been given to foreign firms before, because what they're giving us is actually not value for money. Another thing on PPP, which is private public partnership, the government is required to share, to have public participation on such issue. So they're just taking a shortcut, and especially because they came up with this intention to remove conflict of interest when it comes to government project, which is another hole they're digging us into. We support you. Let us know how else we can support, so that we don't end up losing JKIA. We salute you. We thank you. I'm sorry about the disappointment, but I would like to warn you, it can happen with any lawyer. It can happen with any lawyer. Very few of them will be committed to the letter. So prep yourself and probably stretch your option. I salute you for this commitment. I thank everyone, and we are here. We are here to support you. I yield the mic so that we can have other voices. But thank you, everybody, for this. Thank you.
Moero, you want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you. Nothing. Thank you so much, and thank you for your volunteering and offering to help. And
So we can have Daniel, then Fabish, then Sophia.
Of contradiction, even with the way the lawyers misbehaved, the petition is filed. And the petition, I added in the public interest, I added certain other individuals so that the matter qualifies as a matter of public of interest. That means we added, for example, Wiper Party, we added Jubilee Party, we added the DAPK Party. All these were added as petitioners so that it is not Tony Gashoka on his own, that Wiper has 3 million people, that this one has. So the court is going to be looking at the petition as a Kenyan petition. So I did not want to hog or own the petition. My idea was that we make it a public document so that even when a judge is looking at the weight of the issues being asked, and then of course, in addition, we have the workers. So why I'm emphasizing on the JKI deal is we need a win against Ruto. And I can assure you we are going to have a win on this matter. And if we take one win, let's say, for example, we defeat Andani in this case, and certain constitutional declarations are made against him, because the petition is sustainable, because it has been well researched and well packaged. We can use that to blacklist him, even in other cases he already may be doing or already being awarded. We can actually use the JKIA win to nullify or to bring back to court, question other issues, because by that order of the court, he will be blacklisted, because among the prayers and other things we are asking for in the petition will be, who is this man? And we are discussing his conduct, including in Malaysia and in other countries where he's been banned. And Mweru has agreed to share this petition. I think the time has come. Anybody willing to have this petition, it's now a public document. Please ask Mweru for a very comprehensive document that we put together, notwithstanding the fact that I need to change the lawyers. And I don't think the lawyers were disloyal to the petition. It's just that this Gachagua man and the money that is going around, I don't know what happened. I was just shocked to see them leave a petition at the hour of need. But anyway, the petition before they left, particularly Kibe Muigai, who is an expert in public law, he did a very, very good job. So the petition is there and it is solid. And if we win one thing against Ruto, it will give us a stimulus and the content of orders to be able to go about the other issues and unearth and unmask Andani.
And also, Tony, I was asking, can we also, after this, as we forge forward, can we also think about the stuff I said, especially the land and also the port and all these other things that we might not think? We can kind of like encompass them, even for Kalonzo especially. He can use that as a rallying call. Be like, okay, fine, I'm also here to protect the resources of the country. I'm not just a politician. I think he can even use that in a political sense to kind of like drive the minds towards it. So I'll be also thinking, this person is not just here for, we can actually see him like I think he should also pick that up as a way, like we also have these other assets, and we can be able to protect them, and people are not aware. I think even for Kalonzo, if he's listening here, he can try and use that in a political way.
I'll send him the recording in the morning, but I can't agree with you more because I saw the change in the court when he stood on his feet. There's that respect. There's that seriousness that he's adding to what Nelson and his team and all of you in your prayers have done. I think there is a place for that kind of face to kind of make the courts take the thing seriously.
All right. Thanks, Daniel.
Thank you, TG. Thank you, Daniel.
Yeah.
Fabish?
Okay, go ahead, Fabio.
Yeah, good evening. Thank you so much, TG, Mweru, Nelson, Anthony, and everyone. I don't know even how to thank you, TG and Nelson, our gentleman that you decided to sacrifice everything and stood up for the country. You are a hero. And also TG, that you take everything and you are battling. I know that you are having a lot of pressure, but notwithstanding the pressure, you say that you are standing with Kenya. I also want to extend my gratitude to Kalonzo Musyoka. He is indeed now showing us that he has the interest of this country at heart, because for him alone appearing and standing at the bar to defend the interest of this country is not something to be taken for granted. William Ruto is trying to bombard us with a lot of issues so that we can be diverted and we can lose control. Yesterday, there was another bill, a very critical one, that also should not go unnoticed. It is called Critical Infrastructure Protection Bill. When you study that bill very well, it actually, I think, even emanating from this Adani deal, and also in a way attacking Chapter 1 and Chapter 37 of our Constitution, because it says that it is going to list, let's say, Parliament, JKIA, Uru Highway, and other infrastructure as critical infrastructure that will be protected and out of bound for everybody to access without authority. Now, it contravenes a lot of chapters in the Constitution, including the rights of information, because it imposes a hefty fine that anyone who, whether journalists or even the whistleblowers, that you solicit information from those critical infrastructure, the fine will, or even maybe you demonstrate in those spaces, you will be fined for up to 10 to 15 million or 10 years imprisonment or both. Yesterday we were in another space and there was a wakili that also we tried to give out our memorandum, and yesterday 5 o'clock was the deadline. We don't know how it is going to go forward in the Senate. So TG, I hope also that you will get notice of this and follow up, because if this one go through, then we are done as a country. This is going to take us back to Moi era.
Sorry, I don't want to speak a lot because I want others to contribute, but I undertake that I'll talk to Kalonzo in the morning, because I think we have about 8 senators. I can't remember how many who he's can direct to help us with this matter. I think there's Senator Wambua, Senator Manzo, I can't remember, but from Ukambani at least we've got about 8 senators already in the House who are wiper. So I'll talk to Kalonzo in the morning and report in the next space.
Thank you so much. Yes, because we have seen now that Ruto is attacking us from every corner, and I want to agree with you, because the fight now that you have decided to take into Ruto doorstep, it is going to harm him. He will later realize that he's committing a suicide by himself. Thank you so much, and thank you also for taking time and update us. We have been waiting for this moment, and this is a big win for the country. Indeed, this is a big win. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Fabish. Let's hear from
Thank
Sophia.
you, Fabish. I want to bring in CPM, KOT, then Sophia in that order.
Actually, no, it's Sophia, then Ryan, then CPM, then KOT. So, Sophia, go ahead.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes.
TG, thank you so much. Let me just start by thanking you for all you've done with the JKIA matter in the courtrooms. Nelson, shout out to you. I have also been a little perturbed as to what happened yesterday, but I don't want to disparage my colleagues. But I just want to point out one thing that for me is very important as somebody who lives in Kilifi, is that in so much as there's so much happening with JKIA, there's a lot happening with the Malindi International Airport as well. So I just wanted to point it out. I don't want to take too much time because I know it's late in the night and we have so much to discuss. But in
Sorry,
terms
I
of
don't want to
accountability
interrupt,
and
but the case is against the Kenya Airports Authority, which controls all of that. So remember, we talk JKA, but all the airports are covered. So
Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Tony. But there is a specific nuance that is happening in Malindi International Airport. So I don't know if it is subsumed within your petition or there is need for us to include additional litigation. But
if
I
you
will revert
if you
back to you.
DM me or Anthony or Mweru, we will send you the petition. The petition is you can read what we've put, then you can get back to DM me or Anthony Murezi or Mweru.
Noted.
All right. Thanks, Sophia. Let's go to
CPM, was that it?
Ryan.
I
Ryan.
do know I saw about the Malindi issue today. I'm actually trying to get it. Was that your submission?
Daniel, I don't think you. Ryan,
Yes.
can you go?
Hello.
Was that your submission?
No, no,
There was a lady talking about the Malindi issues.
I haven't spoken yet. I have another issue.
No, just wait a minute. CPM, who was the lady speaking so that I know who I should DM the petition
Sophia.
to?
Sophia. I'll send it to you in your DM. It's Sophia. So, Ryan, go ahead.
Okay, CPM, go on.
Is it me or Ryan?
Okay,
It's Ryan, go ahead. Then CPM follows.
Okay, thank you for the space. I'm not much of a lawyer, but I had a suggestion to Tony since it's high time for him to step up. I think we should urge him to step up for us and don't sit and wait for Raila to push him over so that he can come and cry again. Venye amesema yeye si watermelon. Let him show the leadership and push forward through the Adani to show the leadership he has and that we can trust him. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Ryan, for your contribution. Let's hear from CPM, then KOT.
Thank you for the space. Allow me quickly brush through five aspects from associate level of knowledge. First is what Nelson said about the PPP regulations. You know, a regulation describes how an act works on a day-to-day basis, while an act describes what the law is. So when the PPP Act was passed in 2013, the regulations followed in 2014. When the Act was revised in 2021, the regulations were retained. Now, there are 2023 draft regulations that still sit at the Treasury, and via a post that is in the comment section, you will see that it will have also partly curbed this situation because there is a rule on it that entails Adani is supposed to submit several documents, including company profiles, tax information, etc. So unfortunately, I haven't yet seen the updated petition. Sorry. So perhaps you can advise where I can source it from, so that to also check if that is also covered, because in court they will make reference to the regulations of 2014, and it will be quite chaotic. Even the regulation about after a month when Nelson exposed. So the rules of the act says that when a project, it had written that the JKIA deal was at the commercial clause. The Act says that when a project is at the commercial close, you're supposed to know everything. Who is the project details? Where are they from? What have they done? What are the transaction details? So everything should have been public as at July, or let me say 1st of August. And then last year, the PPP Directorate published terms of reference for transactions advisors who are supposed to do due diligence of PPP project. That is supposed to be an independent person appointed by contracting authority or KAA for this matter, or in consultation with the directorate. And the terms of reference are very simple document, about 6 pages. I believe Nelson can share it. That actually, if you even check at the summary page, let me just cap it in 10 seconds. It has already disqualified Adani because it says the due diligence is to be done and to make sure that the person has not debarred in any country from participating in PPPs, is not corrupt or engaged in acts of corruption, directors have not been convicted of any felony, etc. So that is also another point that I wanted also to point. And then finally is the section 62 of the PPP Act actually gives us power as citizens to stop that process when it is against public interest. And civil unrest is actually written in that document, subsection E, that it's part of the process that we as the people can engage to cancel off that. And also to close off now, there was the issue of that we can do it by ourselves. I think the government will win against that argument because we have to understand the differences between the wording funding and financing. The government can finance, but it cannot fund. You see, financing is looking for funds for the project. Funding is paying off for the project value. It's just like when you go to a supermarket, you have 5,000 to spend, right? So it's you to buy 10 things without 5,000, or buy 2 things without 5,000. So the government can come up with that argument and they might
Excuse
win it
me, I
because
don't want to interrupt you, but it's a very important point you're raising, and you have a very short window. I've already sent Nelson a DM, and I would like you, because I need your number so I can WhatsApp you the petition. Because whereas the amended petition has been filed, remember the workers are also interested parties on the other side. So if you look at the petition and there is anything material that is not in the main petition, kindly do it very urgently so that after you look at it, so that the Kenya Airport Workers Union in their reply, you know, when they do, you know, they're replying, and then we have a right to reply to their reply. So either it comes in their documents or when we are replying to their responses. We are not late because we have filed the plaint, the petition in chief, then they are meant to respond. And after they respond, we have one more right to reply. So I am urging you that this document be dispersed tonight, this minute. I've sent Nelson a DM. If you could give me his WhatsApp number or yours, I'll send you the petition right now, this minute.
Done. It's done.
okay. I think I'll have a look at the petition and then we'll chat you.
All right, thank you, CPM. Go ahead, KOT.
Okay. Thank you, Tony, Mweru, and all other guys who are on this space for having this great discussion this evening. And of course, I'm coming in from a point of we having the lawyers like Tony and the others who are pushing on this end. And so personally, I feel like even as much as you guys are doing it from the point of you being the lawyers, filing the petitions and following up in the court and everything, then some of us who are not so much knowledgeable in that field, we can also take part in the initiative that you guys are doing, especially on this Adani JKIA takeover stuff. Because if other people on the other side, we can now join you by piling in more pressure, speaking to people on the ground, because I've been on the ground and I feel like some of these people down here, they don't have that information. But whenever they have that information, of course, they will amplify the voice by questioning, especially those people who are coming from the villages. You know, these people, they do so much engagement, especially on the FM radios and of course in their meetings. And so it will be so good to ensure that we enlighten them, of course, so that whenever these people are coming on the ground, especially those people who are pushing for these Adani staffs, the political class, whenever they come down here, they found that the ground is totally polarized, so they don't have any peace down here. So from my end, I feel like any other person who is not a lawyer, if you feel like you can't actually represent the movement to the court on this matter, then let us take up that mantle of educating other people on the ground on these matters, how they affect them directly, so that when the lawyers are doing it, the legal process, then us down here, we are educating people now, they'll pile in more pressure. Otherwise, I want to thank you, Tony, and Mweru, Nelson, I can see you are here, and any other person who is on this space for congregating here and having this concrete discussion. Thank you.
Okay, OT, before you drop off. So I know the next court date, then correct me if I'm wrong, Tony and Anthony, is November 11th. We probably need to sort of, if it's feasible, we can amplify this and make some banners, and then if people are okay doing this, I'm not one to push people because I'm not actually on the ground to show up. We'll need some moral support outside the court, if that is plausible. I don't know what people think about this opinion. I mean, yeah, I'm pretty sure that would also make a statement, because we need to make it hard that the fact that people are not given the opportunity to have public participation in this, they can show up in court. So if you're able to just amplify this, like November 11th is the court date, I would communicate to you the time, and people want to show up to court, that would be great too, because especially after what happened today, where some of the lawyers yesterday, where some of the lawyers pulled out, I'm pretty sure Tony and the team would appreciate having some moral support. So next speaker is Neves, if you're still here.
Mweru, just before you go to the next speaker, let
Yeah.
me just comment on that in less than 1 minute. So personally, I'll be so willing to do a very good mobilization outside the court, because I'm able to do that. Let us do a very nice mobilization there. Get people outside the, if it's Milimani law courts, let people go there to air out their views through the placards and chanting there that they really don't want the Adani people.
It's 11th of November at Open Court in Milimani. 11th of November. And so
Yeah,
you can go ahead. So, to save each other's time, you can now plan for 11th of November.
this is a good idea, Tony. I will also try and help out Sonko to do the mobilization.
Yeah. Please tell him. And, he thinks
Yeah.
very highly of Kalonzo. So Kalonzo will be there to lead the team. And by tomorrow afternoon, Tony, Muridi, and I we wanted to appoint the new lawyers. So I write one letter of change of advocate, as you understand. Nelson, if you check in your WhatsApp, I've sent you the entire petition and the notes associated to it.
I got it. Thank you.
And so the last day to reply is the 8th of November.
Thank you.
Also, before we proceed, if there's anybody here who is a lawyer or it has any form of legal expertise, Tony, you probably need to sort of mention what happened yesterday. If you want to help out with the team, your assistance will be really appreciated, because he's looking for a new team to represent us in court. So if you're willing to just volunteer your service.
approval and other things, including the illegality of the PPP, which Chege Nelson's friend was trying to say, that we make those things declared unconstitutional so that we close those loopholes. Now, what I'm saying clearly is that we've got that now going, and that was to be done on the 22nd when we were abandoned by the lawyers, as you say. But Kalonzo was able to get us a new date of the 11th.
Yeah, thank you, Tony. But you know also, if you remember some other speakers who've spoken before me, is how as much as we are looking at the legal aspects happening in the courts and engaging lawyers, we also need to do social mobilization of the citizenry. And of course, when I talked about the online petition, is also a part of how do we mobilize Kenyans across board to be able to now speak out aloud around this, around the airports. I'm imagining, I saw even, what they've done in Bangladesh, increasing rates when they took over the generation of power, for example, and things went all the way to over 102%. So I think
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I then must tell you this information. But I can't tell you more than this. I told Nelson private. What I'm saying is the workers know they can strike. They don't even need people to go there. Are you understanding? But we are saying that as long as the petition is going the proper way and being handled properly, we are okay. The moment we smell or we think that there is anything, I don't want to say more because we are in a court.
Okay,
but believe you me, I've been there a few years, so I want to assure you, all the workers across all the airports are with us in the union. So this is something, and they attend court, by the way. They were there even on. It was very embarrassing that the union members were in court, but our lawyers were not.
Okay, thank you.
And please DM me. Please DM me. I'll talk to you a bit more on that issue so I can. There's some things I can't say here.
All right. In regards to mobilization, KOT, do you mind just responding to what the previous speaker was saying, and then once you're done responding on how we're going to mobilize people, because we need the public to participate in this, and I believe November 11th at the courts, that would be a great opportunity for you if you're comfortable doing it. So I'll have KOT respond to you in regards to the mobilization aspect of that. Then after that, I'll have Engineer Otota, and this is the last time I'm giving you the mic because every time I give you, you don't respond. KOT, if you're not there, Engineer Otota, go ahead. All right, the design guy, go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Great. Let me start by saying that I'll be a bit brief and also appreciate this chance to actually address a very big matter. Saying first that I am just a simple guy without a blue tick on Twitter. It's the first time that I think I am addressing a national matter on Twitter, and I have been really mad sometimes that the people who we rely on that have these blue Twitter who can actually mobilize people have been bought sometimes. Sometimes they don't want to support a cause, and just to say that it's just a few of them who've made these agendas that we have to actually counter the government and its wrongdoings. They've brought back our revolution. So mine is just to say that we actually have a very vibrant community out here who is willing to support in any way to check this government, and some of us, it's only that we cannot speak up, but we are doing our best. And my biggest point tonight, especially with these petitions that are happening, is we need to look at creative ways of protesting. Maandamano probably, or I can say failed, but there are other avenues. If you can just Google right now, creative protests, it's a very, very big way of doing things differently. And I think it can help us win these wars against this government, because they've proved that we cannot be seen on the streets. I had an idea of actually occupying podiums on national holidays, and it's only that I will say again, I think I couldn't reach the right people to reiterate this point, but I had the idea of occupying every podium in all the 47 counties organized by the government, and that is where we'd have a Mwananchi public participation, because it's the only platform that we have. I take the analyzation from the Gashagwa public participation, where many people showed up, and you see what the government did was take that as a point that most people voted that Gashagwa should go. So here, like the Adani JKIA takeover, if we actually have a platform on a certain day that will actually make people say no to Adani, and the government will actually, because I think Adani won't have like anyone saying we need Adani here. So majority of the votes or majority of the people will be against it, and so what would the government actually say about it, and what would the courts say about it? So I hear there's this petition. There's you're in court, TG, on 11th. So you've left it at, let's see how it goes. But again, we have a public holiday, the last one, on 12th of December. I think this should be an opportunity to make it a day to actually say no to all these things that are happening. Let us create a list of the biggest, maybe even three things that are
The
affecting
design guy,
us.
my apologies. I don't mean to interrupt, but because we're sort of short on time. But that's
Yes,
why we're trying to mobilize. We had one court session that was online on Zoom, and even I joined in, and we had people that joined in, and they did their public participation there by chanting and saying Adani must go. So it's already actively happening. As for November 11th, I see what you're saying, and
yes.
we are working on mobilizing in that. So if you want to show up to court, you can show up to court.
My biggest point as I finish up is because this thing is only a conversation in Nairobi, in maybe major town centers, but it's not where the majority of the people who actually do not know about all these things.
So
eh,
could you
um,
DM me so that we can continue after this conversation? So because I want to talk to you, but DM me so I get your number.
sure, thanks, sawa. But
All right,
thank you a lot.
Hamazuka, go
Thanks
ahead.
for
Thank you,
the process.
TG.
Hamazuka, go ahead.
Hey, thank you so much. Weru, TG, Anthony, thank you so much. I just wanted to also say thank you so much to Nelson, the whistleblowing. Now, this is what we call glimmers of hope, okay? Because sometimes we can be all talk and no action. So when a court case is filed, right? And it's done in a collaborative way. I'm here to speak on behalf of boomers and the older generation, and really suggesting that maybe the whole idea of Gen Zs not wanting to work with the older generation is another way of controlling or just creating havoc, creating, stalling projects, stalling conversations. Because the fact that TG said that this is a case that could be won, right? That's huge. That's the hope that we need. We hear bad news every day. I'm in the diaspora. So we have to be able to have the mentorship and guidance from those who have been in the political landscape for longer. We have to stop entertaining the conversation that, oh no, we don't want this one because this one has been there and this you atakula pesa pia. If you take a look around and see who is eating up all the money right now, it's one person who is moving like wildfire to consolidate power. We're going to be here talking about, oh, well, Gen Z, nini na nini. I'm all for unifying the base, so that we can bridge the gap between the innovative spirit of the young Gen Z and the wisdom of the people who've been there before. When you hear Tony Gashoka speaking, you can hear that he's been there, he's done that, he's been around the block a couple times. Okay, so all of the young people who are doing their thing, with exposing the odious debt and all of that. Yeah, that's really good. But internal division weakens us. So I just wanted to say to people that, listen, we have to not allow these people to prevent us from addressing those systemic problems. If you're 28, 30, 35, you don't know Jack. Okay, allow the people who've been around 40, 45, 50, 55. We have something to bring to the table also. We don't want our country to be given away to Adani. We can't cope with everything happening all at once. Y'all better recognize that it's time to stop calling all of these other people who are on our side. Kalonzo Musyoka, I don't care what he was called before.